Rita, would you do a roll call?
Mr. Doherty?
Present.
Mr. Kent?
Here.
Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Acting Chairman Smith?
Here.
And let the record show that the town manager, Mr. Thrasher, our town attorney, Mr. Randolph, and acting chief Allen is also present. Absent with notice is Mr. Roche and our alternate, Mr. Rubini.
Thank you, Rita. Everyone had it, a copy or a draft of the minutes of the prior meeting before today. Is there any corrections, comments, deletions, etc.? Not, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Rita?
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes. Anybody know of any additions, withdrawals, deferrals, or arrangements to the agenda that they have in front of them? Okay. The announcements in front of you, you have the future meeting dates. As we are here today, does anyone know whether they will or will not be able to make the November or December meeting? Is that good for us so far? Okay, Rita, so it looks like all four of us will at least be there for those two. Has there been any ex parte communication among members or members of the city staff?
No. No.
Rita, would you administer the oath to all those who wish to speak today?
Anyone that wishes to speak at all in this hearing, please stand and raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
And may I have your name?
Fernando Nunez.
Thank you.
Fernando, I believe you're up.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Well, we're here to present an addition that we're doing to Mr. Isaacson's home. It's an existing 3,400 square foot, two-story CBS structure. We're proposing to expand it to about 5,800 square feet. A big portion of the addition is on the first floor in the form of two garage structures attached to either side of the home, and we are extending the back envelope of the house to encompass some of what's existing as an outdoor patio as interior space. We were met with a couple challenges in doing the addition. One of those was to take the existing architecture of the house in terms of its style and proportions and openness, particularly in the back, and then adapt it to the town code. So we made the effort to integrate, again, the existing architectural vocabulary of the house with the town criteria, and we think we came up with a pretty good approach. I guess in regards to the images, as you can see here, the house is not currently in keeping with the criteria, and the exterior of the house has a lot of windows facing the intercoastal. Later in a couple other boards we'll show you how we made some of these changes. This here is the existing site plan, as you know. This is the existing structure that's 2 stories, and when we decided to do the addition, we thought it was logical to extend the addition along the west property line to maintain a sense of openness and, I guess, the intent of the setback off the main roadway here. As far as the design, that's what we're proposing in terms of converting what would be very similar to this view into the new proposed elevation. This, I'd like to mention that, you know, where we really were able to kind of focus some of these new elements was in the front of the house. You'll see it in the back, as I'm sure you've seen the documents. It's kind of hard to match this style completely without altering the existing character and frankly attractiveness of the existing home, which is what I think gives it the most value, which is the view of the intercoastal and so on. The facade elevation, we kept here the hedges down a little bit just so that you can kind of get an idea of the character of the home. This is what the elevation looks like without the landscaping. And you can see we have certain elements here that are consistent with the town criteria in terms of the design. And
One with the landscape.
yeah. And I guess I'm just jumping ahead a little bit because I know there's been some discussion in regards to the three-car garage. And I wanted to identify that because of the existing landscaping and the privacy hedge that we've got along the main roadway, this is basically the view facing west on the roadway in front of the property. You can see that the existing hedge pretty much effectively blocks view of the home. And then this is the view looking east, in which you can see that the existing home is basically concealed behind the hedge. And then as we look at the rendering, you can see that the hedge is about 6-7 feet tall, and it very effectively screens the home and gives it privacy, while at the same time giving view of the architectural character of the house that's consistent with the town code. Would you like to say anything else?
No, I think you
Any questions?
Sorry, are you Mr. Isaacson?
I am.
Oh, sorry, and Mrs. Isaacson?
Yes,
Yes.
Oh,
correct.
sorry, okay, sorry,
Thank you.
just wanted to get, yeah,
Yeah.
I imagine that was the case.
So that's my intro into what we were thinking and what we're proposing.
Can you speak to the changes to the elevation of the rear of the house? Because, and you also have a picture, a photograph, or a rendering that we did not get, which is the last one, I believe, in that series.
Which rendering do you not have?
It was a color rendering, and
This one?
no, next page, the rear of the house. Oh, we did?
I believe you've got.
I didn't have
the home.
Maybe you did. I got two of them.
Oh,
I probably got yours.
Tom's got mine.
Is this what you're referring to?
Yes.
Yes, that one, yeah.
Can you quickly show us what's new and what's existing on the back, just with your?
Okay, the glass on the second floor is existing. On the ground floor, for the most part, in this view, the addition is this little sliver that you can see behind the patios. This exterior deck is new construction that we're adding to the home. But on the ground floor, this is what I mentioned earlier, that there's, in the existing home, there's a walkway that goes along the back of the house that's under the upper deck. So we've, essentially what we did is we pushed out the exterior wall to encompass that space and then make it part of the AC area for the home. So this section down here, for the most part, is new construction where we pushed out the envelope. This on top is the existing structure that we are just putting in new code compliant windows. But the roof is existing to remain, and like I said, this little sliver is, for the most part, all you can see from the back that has been added on to the side of the house. The other garage
Is it, yeah.
is behind
Next there, yeah.
on the west side.
Alright.
What's the floor area ratio? Because I can't find it on my It's 58 in terms of the 5,800 in proportion to the overall lot size.
I have to look at the exact number. I believe the site was about 17,000. I don't want to misrepresent the number.
It's okay.
I did the calculations. I'm sorry, I believe it's on the application.
No, I got the 5,800 on the application.
He's looking for the
Percentage.
size of the lot, square footage of the lot.
I show it up here, page
Where have you got it?
17,857.
Okay.
So that's divided by
I'm sorry.
17,000.
Yeah.
Should have been on my report, it was not.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Keeps on math.
Top left, perhaps.
It doesn't have the breakout, which I guess we sometimes get.
Yeah,
Or
that's
second floor.
exactly right. Well, no,
The site,
We
they
sometimes
will
get the
actually placed
permissible.
it on the site plan.
It's just that we normally get the permissible FAR and then what
Yes.
it actually is.
and I don't have a calculator to do it.
There we go.
I
Let's
don't
go
know
forward.
if they've broken out either, but it's within,
It's within.
looks like,
Is it
You
30?
do
Yes.
this hard work.
he's at hard work.
Under 30.
I believe we're just like by a fraction of a percentage under the FAR requirement.
Fine.
I won't bring my calculator in because of the noise. What'd you get?
Oh, the total, let's see, I had the lot,
It's
that's
0.33 times 17,577.
17,577, okay. So there's no underwater land over there.
If I recall, we're just under by maybe 60 square feet or
Right.
something. I mean, it's, we designed it
Yeah.
to the exact number.
It's just to make sure this
It
is
was a good
discussion.
Sure.
question, Malcolm,
I'm
thank
Yeah,
you.
sorry, that-
5,800 is the 0.41, 5,800.
5,800.
Yeah.
I guess, or, let's see, oh, anything more, can you just speak, oh, sorry.
Sorry. I was just going to, on the design side, I was just going to ask if there's any feedback from neighbours.
Yes, that was mine.
Not, well, I don't know, not that we're aware of.
There is some, it isn't directed exactly at the construction. There was a police report, there was some neighbor complaints about mechanical work and storage of auto parts in the garage over there. And they were concerned with adding on more garage, that this not become a auto repair area.
Carve out,
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
because you bought the house in June, right?
Yeah, that would be right. We bought it in June, and we are not living in it. So I do have a car and a jet ski and a couple kayaks all in the garage, and it is a bit of a mess. My son was doing some work on his friend's car. It had actually broke down there, and he was fixing it in the garage.
So that's not the intended purpose.
No, believe me, I won't let it happen.
This is our permanent residence, and no, it's not. It's
No,
not an
it's-
auto garage.
Okay.
That was
So
the
that was,
comments.
but there are no comments, architectural
No,
redevelopment.
That's me.
And did we do the glass calculation on them? Where is there some?
Yeah, but it's grandfathered in.
It's grandfather, so
Yeah.
it doesn't touch
It is, or-
Yeah.
Yes, the upper second floor facing the intercoastal.
And I guess the 15-foot setback encroachment is grandfather too, right? Is what-
Well, it
It's special exemption.
It's special exception.
provides them a special exception option.
Can you show me though exactly where that is?
Sure, hold on.
It's just the west side, but it's kind of the end of the west side. Okay, 10 and 9.
First street.
Let's go to.
So we can move
Totally
it.
different separate lot.
This is the survey of the existing property as it sits here today. This is the area of the home that sits within the 10'9" setback. So when we're looking at making the addition, we just naturally felt that it was logical to maintain the building line along that edge. Because we felt obviously if we shifted that mass towards the front, it would only give a feeling of, we'd lose that feeling of the house being offset from the property, because effectively, since one of the two views, there's a view into the property from here and from here, so we thought that if we shifted this mass to the front, for the majority of the residents, as they get to their home, they're basically gonna be looking at the side of the house. And then it would also create a congested condition in the existing main entry to the home, and rather than reconfiguring how the house currently works as a habitable space, we thought we would maintain the entry point in a very similar location to where it is today. So with that in mind, when we did the addition, we tried to respect the existing setback, but also kind of maintain that mass to push it away from this open space in the front, so that as you drive by the house, you see more of the front of the house rather than getting a side view of it.
In addition, the code does provide for that special exception.
Yeah.
Sure.
It looks to me, on the one I'm looking at, that it's actually closer to the property line than even the encroachment that's on the existing home, unless my eye is really crooked, that this piece right here
No, here you go.
is,
It's a
this
small little, let me try
could
to.
be a foot or two maybe?
No,
Well,
The existing home-
we've taken this as, oh, it's the site plan, no, it's here. There it is.
Yeah, but I'm saying that point, to me, this here is closer
Oh, I
to
see
the
what you're
property
saying.
line.
Yeah.
It's not, it's an even further encroachment, it's
It's-
not staying the same distance, so
Let me
it's a
just-
rule that it, I thought they could stay at that
Okay, I
property
see.
line,
I
not
see
this
what
property
you're saying.
Pre-existing.
line.
Yeah. It looks like you are going closer to the property line.
Than the
now.
existing encroachment.
We're not,
Let me,
Okay, I think
The
this is
10-foot-9
You see what I
shrinks,
mean?
we think.
I mean, I'm just looking at it at an angle, but it looks to
Okay.
me like the new addition is even closer to the property line than the variance or exception.
Okay, I think
This
when the
one right
surveyor
here.
did the survey, I think what he mapped out is the envelope of the house. The actual structure that supports the upper deck in the back is part of what extends out, so what you're seeing, I caught on to what you're saying.
Okay.
You see,
since I
Then it's
put-
the ground footprint.
This is the envelope of the house.
okay,
This hatched area here is actually part of a structure that supports the deck in the back. So that's part of the existing home structure. You can't, let me see if I can catch it in the picture.
Right
whatever
down
you
there.
do, you
Top
can't go
right.
beyond this point right
yeah,
here.
that's my point.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, the foundation can't go beyond this point
It's
right
not.
here.
it's,
Yeah.
No, this structure here is this
No, that's
structure
not
here.
structure. This structure right here. That line right there.
No, understood.
no, this is the structure of the house. Here's the rear of the house. We're staying in line with this structure here.
We're not changing that.
This is not drawn properly and not shown.
Okay.
this
Yeah, it's not drawn
If it's
properly.
It's not drawn
Drawn
properly, 'cause it
correctly.
doesn't work the way it's drawn.
Basically,
Correct, but if you see where I'm pointing
Yeah.
on
Okay.
there, we are absolutely staying
See,
in line.
this
We're not
gives
touching
the
that
impression
side.
that
Yeah,
you're
you
going
can't
beyond
go
this.
further than the physical
We're not.
being of the building.
This, right, there was a
That's my point.
It doesn't matter if
discrepancy.
it's on the ground or in the air.
When this, that's what I was saying, when the surveyor drew the home, he showed the envelope of air-conditioned space. This is an existing photograph that was there today. This volume, this mass,
What is that? Stick on.
that edge is the edge that we're using
As they
to
say.
define the westernmost edge of our proposed structure.
Okay.
Okay.
I would suggest that we have SP one revised for us. This does not look right to me, even with your
It
explanation.
doesn't.
Do you agree with it or not?
You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I want this drawing to, rather than give me this line here, I want a line that goes straight across, regardless of whether it's the roof overhang, it's the,
No, it's not, let me show you again. Can I get a,
Yeah,
It's a couple of feet.
I don't know if this is gonna work.
That's
That portion of the survey, which is what he's putting a setback to because there's a structure there.
what is that then? Is that, it looks
That-
like the
That's
patio.
overhang.
No.
It's this structure here, which is an exterior wall of the home
Yeah.
that encloses part of the lower patio area. It doesn't extend full height and it's not part of the envelope of the home.
But it's
so
taken,
part
it's
of the
taken from the exterior wall of that.
of that piece, yeah.
Okay.
Right, so
Oh.
that when you look at
Just this thing right here.
This
That's the
rendering-
corner.
this
That
edge,
whole-
That's just a
Yeah, I was
piece
gonna
of
say
wall.
that's a structure.
Yeah.
It's just a piece of wall.
it's just not part of the building
Part
envelope.
of the building envelope, I know, it's a,
I've got the same.
Yeah, this is.
It's
Right,
not
'cause
just a
this-
wall, is it?
Yeah, but that's just a patio.
Is it a wall?
Patio.
What do you mean, yes, it's next to your well, that encloses part of the existing rear
Mm-hmm.
porch of the home.
What plantings
Is
are
it
in there?
under roof?
Plantings are in there?
No, no
What-
plantings in there,
What,
no.
what, what's this landscape area, but
It's a feature of the box design. You get it in earth as well. It goes, it's literally attached to the house, and it's just like
Right,
a
it's,
block wall. Yeah.
but it's, I mean, I must say, I mean, but it's, I mean, I'm just trying to, I mean, it's, to Bill's point, it's definitely not sort of part of the, of like the air conditioned square footage of the house. It's more like, it's, as you pointed out, it is a support for the second story. But there's certainly no volume inside. I mean,
there's
it's-
no usable volume
I mean,
inside.
it could almost be a.
It's not
considered-
occupied space.
Yeah, it's not an occupied space, it could almost be considered, I mean, a wall, a support, I mean, you know, it's an interesting, you know, it's something that, because we don't really drill down too far in what we mean by extension. of
Is
the-
that what we're talking about under roof? Does it have a roof over it?
Yes.
Well, I don't think it really does have a roof over it, I mean, there is an eave hanging out, if you point to the, I'm just looking at that
Yeah, the
picture.
eave hangs beyond it.
But there's no roof on it, but there's no roof, there's
I
an
mean, it's
eave.
got a lid on it.
Well, of course, I mean, otherwise it would be, the water would permeate to the concrete. But but there's no roof structure specifically covering the area. The eave happens to hang out over it on the second story, but it's
Second
certainly
story,
not, but it's certainly not considered habitable footage in the extension of the building envelope. I mean, normally, it's a room, it's something, it's a wall that encloses this part of the inside of the
I
house.
believe on the ground floor, you could step in there.
no.
Yeah.
That's
Can't
a
you?
wall.
No, you can't step in it, but it is part of the existing structure of the house. I didn't add that.
Oh, no, we
It is
understand.
No, no,
Oh,
no.
We're just, we're almost, I mean, we're discussing this because it's something, you know, is it really, I think, the chairman points out that it really isn't part of the structure, the habitable structure of it. I mean, the rule, I don't have the rule right in front of me, but it's an extension
It's listed here, 7075C.
Thank you, Bob. Let's see, where is my? Here we go. 74. Oh, here we go, it'd be underneath, special exception. To permit the extension of a non-conforming west wall of the dwelling.
Let's see what Bill said.
It says, section C is additions to structures with existing non-conforming setbacks. So I don't feel that a wall that does not have a roof covering is a structure.
Yeah, I mean, and that would, certainly, there are a lot of houses, I mean, I'm just saying because there are a lot of houses in town where you have the house, and then you have a small or a large wall that extends off of that.
It's not just a little narrow wall. You know, it's
Well, yeah, on here it's
2 foot,
2 or 3 feet, yeah.
2 by
2
2.
feet.
I mean, it's a, you know, it's a structure. It's not just a
I know.
flat.
What if that, what
Can
if
I
that
mention
wall were
something?
5 feet, you know, or 6 feet, which they could be, you know, where they're scalloped and go, you know, they just frame the home.
Exactly, that is.
Can I mention something?
Yes,
All right, I'll admit, I'm not an expert in the town of Gulfstream, land development regulations and things like that, but I can say that in my experience, I've been doing this for a while, a lot of the land development codes in other jurisdictions, as far as cities and counties, the distinction between an accessory structure or something that's considered part of or not considered part of the house is anything that doesn't physically attach to the home. If you have a cabana or a barbecue structure or a pool bar, anything that physically attaches to a home has to conform to the setbacks of that structure. if you want to take advantage of the code provisions for accessory structures, you have to physically be detached from a home, and in many cases, be up to 10 feet away from the home. So when you look at the way land development codes address these types of conditions, because of the fact that it's attached to the home, it has to comply with all the same requirements that the home does. So in this case, it seems that the opposite should also apply, which is that it shouldn't be not considered part of the home, only because in this condition, we're trying to establish a building line that respects that part of the structure.
So that structure, that wall is physically attached to the home.
Yes.
Yeah, if this house that you see here were to come before you knew, you would require that this wall meet the setback.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it is part of the structure
I,
from that standpoint. It's not separate and apart from the structure.
I agree with the presenter. Do you read it?
Yes.
Like, can I just differ from the point of view that there are a lot of houses in town that have a wall that's maybe not 2 or 3 feet thick, but that's, 8-inch, a normal 8-inch wall that's right attached to the house. And I would say that with this interpretation of this structure, it could be argued that that is an encroachment into the,
I think
that's
if you
something you can continue.
Hewlett, I think
about.
if what you're saying, if there was an extension from this house, a wall extension from this house, they could not use that wall as an argument that's where the setback of the house is. If you have a wall coming out from here,
4 feet
and it's
wall,
maybe forward of this or in back of it, they couldn't argue that that's where the setback of the house is. And when you see this pillar, isn't it the part of the structure?
I would say no, because it doesn't, part of it supports this covered, area, but I wouldn't say it's the extension of a normal part of the dwelling area of the house.
I think that's correct. However, that element is part of the architectural style of the home and a consistent element throughout. And because it is attached to the home, it is therefore, in my opinion, part of the structure and the structure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It has load bearing, doesn't it?
It does have a, it's part of it's
It's not just a decorative aspect.
Many times we have seen where a determination between minor accessory and a principal structure is extended by a patio walkway, by that walkway attaching to the house, and in essence, we previously determined that to be part of the structure, and the setbacks are therefore determined as principal.
Isn't this pillar the same setback as this? And how could you say that, huh?
Not the same setback,
Not
the
the
same
same
style.
It's not the same setback?
Well, no, not,
This
we're
is
talking about the side setback.
The
Side
reason this is
setback.
so important.
Side setback, no, not the rear setback, the 15-foot.
Is the size,
10'9".
And the reason that we're very concerned about this is we really go out of our way to protect the neighbors from, we're very stringent about setbacks because we want to protect neighbors from having houses too close to them. This house, if this had been a 2-story addition all along the side, we wouldn't even been able to approve it. in my opinion.
Mentioning from a screening standpoint, it's 100% screened all the way up. That whole garage
Yeah.
structure is all
Screened,
screened.
yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
No,
What,
Oh, I've got huge trees the
No,
whole way.
it's screened.
Mhm.
The neighbor
Well-
can't see that side.
One other point to I'm kind of on Hewlett's team here. Would you look at A2, drawing A2 near the back? It says further floor plan. Here, they're actually describing something in that space as a chimney. If That's a very straight line, that's,
Oh, I know what it
is that quote chimney new, or is that?
No, that's-
That's in that column that we're. in
Right,
regards
no,
to-
it's a structure.
It's a
Is
structure.
it in that corner structure, or is it a new structure?
No.
No, it's
Sorry.
there.
Right
Did he did?
Yeah, that's what exists, that's the existing structure.
Oh, so what's there is the chimney?
It's not a
Not sure, put
traditional
the word
chimney, it's an enclosed, it's an exterior wall, and then it's got a lid on it with an aperture. It like tapers, and then it's got a penetration through it. Whatever was there as far as, I don't wanna use the word equipment, is not there. The shell is there.
Oh, so it is a shell. It's not solid.
No, it's
No,
solid.
it's not solid.
It's masonry.
I mean, not mason, but it's not, in other words, there is a inside to it.
Right.
Yes.
But again, if we were gonna propose plans for new construction and we had a home and we attached a bump out of an exterior wall to function as, let's say, a chimney, we would not be exempt from having the furthermost portion of that chimney structure to meet the setback requirements. And this is the flip side of that, I guess in my mind, it's hard to argue that it's not part of the home when if we were proposing it as new construction, we would definitely have to build it
Within
outside
the-
of the 15-foot setback.
This is important because we don't want people, I mean, you don't want,
Understood.
it's an important discussion because you don't want
Right,
people
no, understood.
piggybacking on
Agreed.
to this
And,
decision.
and the neighbor, could you identify based on any of these drawings where approximately the neighbor's house is?
Here's an elevator, here's a photo.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of the pictures.
as it relates to, say that drawing you have right there,
This is the neighbor.
yeah?
As you can see, the amount of hedging and screening I was talking about, this is the edge of it. We didn't take the photo with the intent of not having that foresight, but you can see the amount of vegetation there.
Yeah.
The neighbor cannot see the structure.
But when we do, sort of part of this exercise is we assume no vegetation, even though it is part of the rule, but in other words, we try to look at it from the point of view of, as cleanly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the Zillow, printout,
Okay.
that,
Yeah, it is.
that we're looking at it.
I mean, you can catch a glimpse of it. It's-
Heavily landscaped.
You can see the density of the foliage as it extends along the west side. I mean, it's effectively a screen. And honestly, whether it's 10.9, 11, 12, 13, I think both neighbors would
14,
want
15.
that screen there. I guess nobody's got any intentions of taking that down anytime soon.
That's right.
So,
If he were not grandfathered, he would need a variance regardless of the screen.
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
But the argument is that he's grandfathered, that this structure is grandfathered in.
seems like we had trouble with this discussion too, Rita, is that, do you remember? And then we were viewing it as though he had to bring it in, but then after discussions about what that element was there at the corner, we aligned ourselves with the idea of a special exception from that point.
From that point, okay. That's important, this is all discussed, sorry, I know it makes application more difficult for you, but.
Well, the house is a challenge,
It is a challenge.
very much so.
It is a challenge, and I was gonna mention something about that. So in order to make it work, we wanted to eliminate this and include this and make a bottom entry, because I don't really like this. And so the garage has to set a little further back from that to allow that structure to happen.
That's, yes. If it came 2 feet further in, it would be.
Then I couldn't
Yeah,
have
you couldn't get
a
a front
bottom
entrance.
Get the
entry.
entrance,
Front
yeah.
entrance, yeah. Are there any other questions or comments?
No, I just had, the.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, yes.
No, I did, I mean, it isn't, I mean, as we point out, our design manual, classifies every single house, every single lot, and this is, classified in the as sort of the other category, because basically there are two main architectural styles that are here, Spanish Mediterranean and Gulf Stream Bermuda, and this certainly falls out of that. So, you know, we have all these things, I mean, prohibited, along with geodesic domes, Art Deco is contemporary, and this is very contemporary, but this house already is a contemporary.
I would like to note, and I'm sorry I admitted that earlier, because the existing home has such pronounced overhangs that by definition pull it away from the Bermuda style, Brian has agreed to cut back those overhangs because they're currently extending in some areas up to 5 feet. So we are cutting them back to kind of get that roof element profile a little bit more in conformance with the Bermuda style, which in most cases has a very limited overhang. And it's defined by, you know, the proportional massings, the hip roofs with a very close fascia up to the face of the exterior wall, and then there's the shutter elements and that sort of thing that kind of carry it through. So we were trying to, you know, without really making the house seem disconnected from the design intent that it had when it was originally put together. So that's kind of why when you see the area calculations, there's not a big number for areas under overhangs beyond 3 feet, because he's cutting all that back to kind of help negotiate between the existing style and that which is consistent with the community.
And we followed that mindset through on all the design elements that we put into the house.
Right.
From the windows change out in the back to everything. We're trying to bring it in, make it more Bermuda, I would say.
Yeah. And then obviously without departing from the appeal of the home, which is the back rear view.
Yes. What is the material that's gonna be used for the stonework on the,
Would you like me
Actually, just a column.
is it a natural,
Natural stone.
to? Yes.
it is,
Would
yes,
you like me to
okay.
pass it around, or?
No, I don't think it, no, I don't.
No,
need
no,
it.
no, thank you.
No need it.
But this is what we're using to accentuate the columns and the planters. This is the
It's gonna
paver
wrap
out in the
Are you
front.
gonna wrap the columns, is all the columns are gonna be there?
Yes,
Yes.
it's full height per the guidelines,
Yeah.
that every plane be covered from top to bottom.
Mhm.
And then the rest of it is stucco.
What's the roof material?
It's a concrete roof top.
Okay.
And this is the paver material, and then the trim adjacent to the roof is gonna match this dark charcoal color.
What's gonna match
The trim,
Oh,
the
trim,
fascia,
oh, the fascia board,
yeah,
and-
yes, no.
just a couple elements here or there, I believe. In the front, there's a couple other areas in the main entry underneath the fascia where we're using this color to kind of help give it a little bit. Yeah, just briefly up in the front, just this area in here and up there is where we're carrying some of this trim color down to kind of help accentuate, to differentiate the entry element
Okay.
from the secondary spaces.
And the front door, just not, but is that gonna, are those glass panels, solid
No.
panels?
No, there'll be a solid
Solid.
type
Solid
material, a wood of some sort, and they'll be consistent with the darker color of the garage doors and the roof tile. So all the contrast color will be consistent with. In fact, I think, Fernando, we have a design board.
Here it is.
That's it.
You got it.
Oh, okay.
These are the colors.
Ah, very nice.
This is the trim color, this is the house color, and then this is the style of the shutters that we're proposing, because you can't really differentiate. It's traditional Bahama style shutters.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, obviously the front of the house is facing south. So we thought having that style of shutter, which is also consistent with window treatments in the neighborhood. We've got pictures, I don't know if you want to see them, of 5, 6, 7 houses that have the same style shutters.
Yeah, no, that is,
Trying to conform.
okay.
I was just wondering, Malcolm, you've driven by this existing home, it appears as though this would be a vast improvement to,
Yeah, I mean,
What's
this,
existing?
aside from the technical, if you
Yeah,
like,
the technical part.
compliance,
that's right.
yeah, in terms of raising it and the aesthetics of it and how it impacts in the whole area, absolutely, it's an improvement. I mean, that's a qualitative view, obviously, but it's going to raise, there's history to this property.
Yes.
And I can speak, you should know that I also live in a Bob Curry house. This house was designed by Bob Curry,
Oh, yeah.
and there are 2 others in Place of Soleil. And they're all as challenging,
Yes, that's
Mhm.
right. I remember.
and that's a euphemism. But yeah, it would absolutely raise that aspect of Avenue au Soleil.
Yes.
I mean, you will. I saw in your application that you said that you will increase you hope to increase the value of the surrounding
Oh,
properties.
Of course, that's our intent.
And that's one of the things that we're here for. But yes, from a purely aesthetic point of view, I mean, I think it will be a definite improvement to what's there at the moment.
Worked very hard.
And as they say, 15 years later, I've still got a work in progress, so be careful what you go for. It's just, that's one of the challenges of having a home like this,
Yeah,
because it isn't, it's a contemporary style.
it's been a challenge, it really has.
Yeah. Yeah. But to
You all
take,
put a lot into.
yeah.
We put, yeah,
A
we're
lot
very
of-
happy with it and hope that,
Yeah.
you guys will as
No,
well.
I understand, as I say, from a personal aspect, the challenges, but I think it will absolutely raise the aesthetic
Thank you.
of our neighbourhood.
Just as reference, these are 4 of the adjacent homes to the property. This one is directly to the west side, and this one's
Behind
on the
Right
north
there.
side of the channel. I believe this is the neighbor
you.
right next to them, and then this is also the neighbor to the east.
Mhm.
The neighbor to the west, or the one across the street, we can't see because there's a humongous
Mhm.
hedge.
To the south.
There's no view.
Yes, correct.
I think we know that.
So, we think this home will be a nice addition that hopefully in the future, adjacent neighbors will step it up so that
Yeah.
they all have a nice view.
Everybody okay?
No, it's an interesting, it's a very interesting, because it's not just a clean, I mean, it's a style that's not sort of Gulfstream, the
No.
Gulfstream vernacular, but that doesn't mean,
Mm.
but it's just important that all these things are addressed, because we're just merely an advisory board, we just advise what the town commission does when they make, but they wanna see that all these points have been
Mhm.
considered, so they have comfort with
Yeah.
making the
Of course.
motion to approve, or giving the authority to approve. So,
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. Just before I make that, Bill, do you
Yes,
want
sir.
to still go on the condition of getting a represented SP1? Do you still want that one?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I'm good with,
Okay,
I believe what they present,
you don't need that.
no,
Okay, I was going to put that in as a condition. Okay.
thank you.
In that case, I would like to make a motion to recommend approval of a demolition permit.
Rita?
Mr. Doherty.
Yes.
Mr. Kent.
Aye.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Acting Chairman Smith.
Yes.
I would further like to make a motion to recommend approval of a land clearing permit.
Second.
Mr. Doherty.
Yes.
Mr. Kent.
Aye.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Acting Chairman Smith.
Yes.
And a motion to recommend approval of a special exemption to permit the extension of the non-conforming west wall of the dwelling as per section 70-75 bracket C of the code.
Second.
Is that Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Mr. Doherty.
Yes.
Mr. Kent.
Aye.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Acting Chairman Smith.
Yes.
And finally, a motion to recommend approval of a level 3 architectural site plan based on a finding that the proposed construction of a 2,355 square foot addition to the existing two-storey single family dwelling meet the minimum intent of the design manual and applicable review standards with the following condition. 1. Plans to be submitted to Place Soleil Homeowners Association for review and comment prior to public hearing to be held by the Town Commission on November the 10th, 2016.
Second?
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Acting Chairman Smith?
Yes. I think that's it.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank
Very
you.
excited.
Good luck. Good luck.
It's been a
Thank you.
dream, so really
Now,
excited.
you'll just collect those and leave them here in case someone comes in and wants to see them.
Okay.
Commission meeting.
Nothing to do with the permit.
Thank you, everyone.
Will be here,
Thank
you
you
need
very
to
much.
bring it back.
We attend.
Sure.
And there was a
And
change
what is that?
that extended out
You
into
got to
the
bring the
setback.
calendar
Will
to
the
the
chimney
second
be
Friday.
allowed to
November
be
the-
used
it's
as the
November the
point
10th.
of
Yes.
setback
Isn't it?
for an extension?
That sounds good.
I just read it out. November the 10th.
Okay, thank
You
you.
know, the exterior chimney box is typically outside the house.
If it was non-conforming, they would be able to extend off it.
Yes, or just stack them over along the wall there, so they're all together.
Yes.
Oh, Kerry has a lot to
We're gonna be neighbors.
Well, we want to swear them in, that they weren't here originally, but let's
Right.
give them, we'll just wait one more minute there.
Actually, I have a question. Malcolm, does the homeowners association meet regularly?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and they will actually go and make a minor presentation?
Okay. It's, the minutes are available and we all get an
Okay.
email and it's, you know, people are invited to attend. It's not obviously a postal.
Are they on
Right.
call, or, so they're on an on-call meeting, or is it regularly
No,
scheduled?
no, it's a regular, it's a
Okay.
regular.
It's always before the town commission, I guess, meetings.
It's,
I don't know when they're.
yeah, it's quarterly.
And they, it says they have a right to review and comment.
Yeah, it's when I used to be chairman of the, or president of the Homeowners Association, and we had a couple of issues where we just wanted some input because although we have the process of the neighbours being notified, some people don't always read their mail or whatever, and it was, you know, it isn't just people who are, if you like, within that designated zone. People have a view. I mean, the impact of what we've just seen will generally be, well, and I'm making an assumption here, you know, it's going to raise that aesthetic value.
Yeah, sure.
And that's one of the reasons for putting it through the, yeah. I mean, they don't have any, if you like, voting rights
Right.
in terms of like
Yeah.
this and recommendations, but it is important that there's a buy-in from the community. Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Okay, Rita, would you swear in anyone who may speak who wasn't here earlier? Have you been sworn in?
No, I have
Okay.
not.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
And may I have your name?
My name is George Oliver.
Thank you.
George, would you come to the podium? You're up.
Over here.
Yes, please.
Okay. Do I need to, so you just,
We may be
you
looking
have
at
any
what we
knowledge
have.
of what it is that I'm here for?
Yeah,
or-
Yes.
Oh, you got pictures and
We've got, I
stuff?
think we've got the reduced.
So should I post
yeah,
this a little
Yeah,
bit?
if you've got it, that would be good. But we've got the reduced version in front of us as well. Excuse me, did you get this one?
Exactly, so. I do know this.
Okay, so. I feel like a politician now.
Actually,
Go.
you need to speak into the mic, so
Yeah.
we
There you go. There you go.
My Spanish will come through too much.
So it's really self-explanatory. It's the corner of Polo and, well, you know the location.
And, Old School
And
Road.
the project, I think, started as just a small redo kind of thing, but I think as time progressed, we realized that we needed to get rid of this dead ficus hedges and the white fly and the ganoderma and the auricas in the back in the pool area and stuff like that. So little by little, we kept scratching the surface, and before we knew it, we had sort of kind of like eliminated everything except all the native plant material. We kept the sea grapes, we kept anything that was native that was going to be part of our calculations, we kept it on site. And then beyond that, we started sort of kind of redesign a little bit just to fill in the spaces and make the homeowner sort of kind of like what she liked, and that's where we're at right now. We've gone through a couple of progressions, one of which was, you know, this corner here, it's very low, and so we figured that one of the things that we wanted to do was we raised the property just a little bit, and we're going to create a little bit of a drainage process, even though up the street there's really not, you know, it hasn't been addressed that much because it's older homes, but we are going to put some sort of kind of like drain, because here's the main drain. So we're going to try to capture the water that comes in here and capture it to the corner of the street. Beyond that, I think the back of the property is pretty level with the neighbors. There's a lift station right here. Oh, right.
Yes, right, yeah.
Right there.
Is it underground?
So that's a little critical. It's underground, yeah.
It's actually, out that way. It's sort
Well,
of.
it's here.
It's
The lift station's
Oh, no,
here.
this is on property.
Yeah, on
It's
property.
on
Or
property.
the on property one, okay, sorry.
So it's not on common ground, but it's on property, but I understand is the way they handle lift stations in this community is
Yes,
that
that's right.
it's on property, but I really don't know the arrangement, because we broke a little line here and we had to call the lift station guy, you know, and then he sort of kind of explained to me which way. There's a line that runs this way and a line that runs across the street to the other side. So they're all kind of like tied together. It's probably a complex network of lift stations. Here on this, I don't know if you got this page or not, but here on the bottom right is where we did all the calculations to sort of kind of satisfy the native plant material.
Perfect.
And beyond that, I mean, if you have some questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
I have a question. What, well, you say you're gonna raise the elevation, which is terrific, because, I mean, it is very wet down there. What will just be, describe what will happen where the pavement meets.
I'm thinking that what I would like to do is I would like to,
Will be a gradual.
it's tricky because, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, so the property, I mean, maybe it's exaggerated or not, but the property will come down a little bit. Here's the home. Will come down a little bit, and what I'm thinking of doing is putting a little bit of a swale in here to catch, and here's the road.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that that's gonna be my drain running down this side, and this side towards this point right here, which is the critical point. And from there, I don't know if there's lift stations that sort of take that water and take it out.
There's a lift station, yeah.
There's
sort of-
probably a big
yeah,
lift station right
Right,
here.
that big
Yes, there is.
silver cover, yeah, exactly, and there's drains that go into it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just wondering, because, you know, you get traffic that goes, you know, trucks that come down the street, they run off to destroy the ground.
Yeah, this corner right here, this corner right here, it's kind of tricky because this is the lowest point on both streets. It's always wet, always. So that's why I sort of pushed and for advice from the city, from the town. I was told that we shouldn't have anything. Originally, we had a little bit of landscaping on the easement, so we pushed everything away from the easement, and we're right on property line. and then the easement is just gonna turn into a little swale. If we could work that, that's really what we need to do to manage the water. Now, there's water coming from here and there's water coming from here, so this corner is always a little wet, unfortunately. It's just low.
All the round things I see lining the property,
Those?
Yeah,
Okay, hold on.
what's the hedge, I guess you'd say then?
Oh, the little
border.
round thing?
what
Yeah.
little round things, yeah.
The hedge is, what is the hedge? I think it's podocarpus.
Okay.
Better, I think.
No, it's exclusia, small exclusia.
L55.
George, what's your thought on that low spot you said there, that you identified?
Here?
On both sides, yeah. How is that corrected? How could that be corrected? Or improved?
Well,
Or improved?
that's, water's got its own mind, and it's gonna go where, it's always gonna reach, a point regardless of what structure is in front of it. If you walk around and you look at any of it, there's another drain here, a drain here, a drain down there, that might be one over there. Everything's coming down to this point over here, that's why there's this huge water transfer station. Huge in my,
Yeah.
in perspective with everything else. And if you look at these drains, the water table is right there. I mean, I look at the drain, I don't care what time of the day it is or what time of the season, and it's within 12 inches of the road surface. So it's just that it's low.
So in your opinion, there's no,
In my opinion,
Way to
is
improve
that this thing either works over time or it's always, it's just, water's always gonna rise to whatever water level it is at the time. It
Thank
goes, unfortunately, that's where we're at.
The driveway staying identical, no changes to the driveway?
No changes to the driveway except a new skin, a new surface.
Okay, and you're gonna kind of put swales on all the way on both sides, it sort of leads towards.
Yeah, we're gonna make-
that,
we-
grass
we're gonna-
swale of some sort.
Grass swale, correct, because the other thing that happens here is this gets run over a lot
Yeah,
by
very
trucks.
Put a
Very
couple
tight.
big steel posts in there.
Yeah,
There are people run across that corner all the time.
Yeah.
it's just hard to get a
The
semi.
landscape routes in particular.
And,
George, the planning, all your planning and hedges will be on private property.
yeah, private property starts at this little, all these little round dots.
So
Inward.
the creation of swales,
Oh,
will
that's-
that extend beyond private property?
No, well,
yeah.
I can always push this hedge a little bit up into property and start the swell, so I need to have a certain amount
Let me
of
just say
room.
it would be all right to create swales in the
Yeah.
right-of-way area.
Oh,
If you choose.
so you don't have to do that, is what he's saying.
Yeah,
It looks like it's drawn in the right of way, between the road
It
and the
is.
property
Yeah.
line, and I think it's acceptable, Phil, to do that. I think so, to build a swale.
the swale, yes,
Yes.
we would encourage and like, that when you incorporate a swale concept there, that if necessary, you go towards the street onto public property.
It's gonna be, it's on easement, it's on an easement.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
That's
okay,
the
okay.
hedge.
It's 100% on the easement. Now, if for whatever reasons I need to go another couple feet into, I mean, to me, to move this hedge a little bit this way, it's not a big deal. I mean, I have flexibility. And more so that here it's clear and here we have power lines that run out this way, so the further away I'm from the power lines, the happier I am.
Would it not be correct to say that if you were to move the hedges closer to the home, a foot or two, you would create more swell possibly and more capacity for,
I don't think, yeah, that's a good assumption, but I think that based on the one thing that we don't wanna do is that we don't wanna be everybody's holding ground.
how come? Well,
Because what happens is this street's coming downhill.
If I understood you correctly, your swell would also slope towards the catch basin in the corner
Comes down here.
there.
Right here, yeah.
So with that concept, you wouldn't be storing water, you'd be,
I agree,
Directing it to the.
agree, but, agree. So the whole concept, if we lived in a perfect world in this street, I'm sure there's an apex in this street, so everybody would use this swell, assuming that everybody had a swell, and this would be a vehicle, a highway to move the water.
it's just the natural
Uh-huh.
terrain, yeah. Okay,
Right, so if it's done right, we should be able to drain to here, I mean,
Okay.
but that's in a perfect world, we'll see what happens, you know, but that's the idea.
These swales seem to work. Mr. Cudmore
Well-
did one with the Clark House. and
well, that's a little further to the south, and we're still challenged by, the material there. It's like, almost a cork material, but it will help. And it also will help with the flow of the water going from south to north towards the catch basin.
Right.
And then from east to west towards the catch basin.
Yeah, I think that,
It's,
I think that the property across the street, which is it's been a property that's been there for a long, long time. Every time I go to this property, I notice that there's water sitting on their swale.
so that's why I asked the question, what's your thoughts on improving that corner? It was an open door perhaps, but, I understand, thank you.
Yeah, water it's a problem to manage water around here.
Well, I'm thinking that perhaps a catch basin on the west side of that roadway, near that property, going into.
The west side? Okay, right, the west side.
Yeah, the old Crocker
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
catch basin there might help.
And I noticed that they,
Just wondered your-
maybe 4 months ago, they did some road work over there where they added a little bit of pavings and stuff like that.
On Old School.
Yeah, on Old School and coming down this way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's all about staying on top of having swales in front of properties and managing the water to where you want it to go, because everybody wants to go here. Except that if there's a dip down up the street or something, that water's gonna collect there until it trickles down to here, and that's what starts creating problems. But it's a difficult task. But at least we're gonna try
Thank you
to.
for that comment.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Ready for,
Any other questions?
No.
Mr. Dockery, would you
I'll
like to?
be happy to make a motion to approve a level 2 architectural site plan based on a finding that the proposed removal of diseased landscape material and installation of new landscaping on the property meets the minimum intent of the design manual and applicable review standards, the following condition. 1, there shall not be any placement of landscape material other than sod in the town's right of way.
I'll second that.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Kent?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Acting Chairman Smith?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over the page.
Bill or Rita, are there any items by staff that we need to add to the meeting?
I have none.
Bill?
I have none.
Okay, we all know, our chairman has been elevated to now being a member of the town council, so we do need to elect a new chairman of this committee. And I think it'd be flattering if it was me, but I prefer it not be me, so would you take that into consideration if somebody makes a motion?
I'd like to make a recommendation. I'd like to recommend Mr. Hewlett Kent to be chairman.
Can I second that?
Well, I would second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Not Rita, would you?
Who's the vice chair?
Mr. Smith is still
You're
the
gonna be-
vice
you're-
chair.
yeah,
Tom-
great.
Tom-
Okay, you already said vice chair.
Mr. Doherty?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Acting Chairman Smith?
Yes.
Well,
Thank you
with an excellent-
very much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you for taking
managed
on.
that quite well, Mr. Smith.
If you would just cared a little more, I think. Okay, I think and if there's anything, there's no one from the public here, so we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Very good.
Turn off your microphone. Thank you, Skip. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah,
Rita.
thanks guys.
We'll see you in November.
Yep.
And we're likely to have a November meeting